Ethan at the time was in a group home because he was just a little more than a family could deal with. And so I had been looking at other places because I didn't feel like a group home was giving Ethan was growing at all. In fact, he was picking up bad behaviors from everyone in the group home. So I was looking at other facilities, and all of them had everyone grouped together. And TLC's philosophy is, if a person can live in their own place, then let's give them that opportunity with support. And also, they were good about looking at Ethan working, because the other places, they didn't, Ethan really wasn't allowed to work because they didn't transport him, they didn't do any of that. And so TLC had the philosophy of wanting Ethan to grow to his full potential. So in my experience, Ethan has not been easy by any means, and they always managed to handle it. And they didn't do it by locking him in a room or taking away his privileges or belittling him. They worked with him on how to stop the behavior and how to improve his behavior. And I was always impressed with that, because some of the places Ethan lived, he would get locked in his room if he threw something or if he got upset, and all that did was cause him to escalate. It didn't help the matter at all. So TLC and the staff have always been really good about how to de-escalate Ethan, and if they can't, then just let him cool off, not be pushing him, because when someone's escalating, you can't push them, because then they just get worse and worse. And the staff and TLC have been really good about that, about letting Ethan walk away, letting him cool off. Also working well with me. I mean, they would contact me and ask me for advice, which I appreciate that, because I am his parent. I have lived with him since he was 5 years old, because Ethan is adopted. And so I do know some things that work and that don't work. And so I appreciate them always including the family also. Well, they've always included me in everything, and anytime they have any kind of events, they always include the family. So I think they're really good about that. I appreciate the camaraderie I have with Ethan's staff and with the ones that's over his staff. They've always included me and tell me what's going on. If Ethan has a problem, they let me know. They let me know when Ethan's done things that's good, and I appreciate that too, because it's always good to hear something good that your kid has done, not just always problems. Until TLC is good about that. They'll say, well, Ethan has been so considerate of this, and Ethan's been so helpful with that, and so I really appreciate that. Some of his staff have gone to every birthday lunch we've had with Ethan, and so I like that. I mean, he's had staff that have celebrated Christmas with us and Easter dinners with us, and so I just appreciate that the staff has always been warm with the family, and I appreciate that, and not excluding you or acting like you don't know what you're talking about because he didn't live with you and that type of thing. And so I appreciate that. Oh, I definitely would recommend TLC. In fact, I have. I mean, there's been people that I've run into that had adult children that they're like, I can't keep them at home anymore. I don't know what to do. And so I've told them to contact TLC to see if there's some way they can help or whatever. Because I remember even before Ethan came with TLC, there was a lady, and I can't think of her name now. She came to the group home and took Ethan out like once a week to get to know Ethan a little bit. And this was before he ever even became a client of TLC's. And she took him out and kind of got him used to being out and stuff. And so I've always gone far above what I think anybody else would do, and what I saw when I was looking for places for Ethan, because I wanted him out of the group home. But I also knew Ethan well enough to know he would not do well with a roommate. He likes things his way, In fact, when he first started with TLC, he could have staff overnight, and he had some staff overnight. And Ethan didn't like that because he said, I don't know what they're doing. They may be watching TV or they may be on their phone. And he said, I need to see what somebody's doing all the time. So he couldn't sleep. So the deal TLC and I made with Ethan was, okay, but if you ever leave your apartment at night, then you will have overnight staff. And he never has. He always, but Ethan is very possessive of his place. And it just would not do well having a roommate with Ethan. And Ethan wouldn't be the easiest person to live with. And so TLC saw that, and they managed to get him a place where he's on his own and has staff support. Every staff that Ethan's ever had that I've really got to know, we just adore them. I mean, there's just nothing I can complain about. And I just appreciate them. I appreciate them seeing Ethan's potential and the good things about Ethan. And so I really appreciate that. And the staff, they seem to do that, you know. Now there are some staff I really haven't met now that we live in Olympia, and I don't see them staff as much. But the ones I've met and got to know, I mean, they're just, I just couldn't ask for better people. As an organization, I think they have good staff. And I think they work really hard to place staff with the clients. Because, I mean, they have put some staff with Ethan, and TLC immediately realized this isn't working. And so, and not necessarily Ethan's fault, but the staff just did not work well with someone as unique as Ethan. And so they're very good about doing that and realizing, okay, this isn't going to work, and so we're going to change it up a little bit. So I think they're, as an organization, they know their clients, and I think that's very important, because when you start putting staff with clients, you need to know that client, and you need to know that maybe a staff member that's a little more rigid is not going to work with someone that can't stand to be bossed or whatever. I mean, you know, they're really good about that. I mean, they know their clients, and I think, and they know their staff, and I think that's very important. One of the things that I have always, when we still talk about, my husband and I still talk about it, we went to I think it was a Christmas party that TLC had, and they had the clients get up front and do something that they could do. And so there was some that sang, and there was some that danced and different things. And Ethan got up front, and he had people ask him where they could go on a bus. And he could name every bus, where you got off, when it came, blah, blah, blah. It didn't matter where they asked. Ethan knew the bus route. And I just thought that was fun, because it made Ethan feel good that he was up there giving knowledge that the rest of us didn't have. I mean, I couldn't get from Olympia to Federal Way without looking it up, you know. And so he's really good about that. And I think it really made him feel good. And we still talk about that, about how important it was for Ethan to get up front and look and feel important.